What happened? Seriously, that $1 million challenge. What were they even thinking? Guys, thank you for tuning in. Obviously, no, I'm Vikings Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while, but I thought we'd try something a little bit different. And today we've obviously got a bit of a live stream talking about everything that's been happening at the MDC. And we'll talk about NXT as well. But man, what happened at the MDC? Seriously, this was insane. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Sean Waring, King Z Savage, Bruce the Dude, you're back again, Drake Jenkins, John Gibbs, and MG Gamer. Nice to see you all here, guys. So, of course, the $1 million challenge was here. Wow. And what a day it was. Of course, we didn't really get to see any of it. You know, we didn't get to see any of the semi-finals. All we got to see was that it came down to a guy in a golden suit versus AJ Styles. Now, as far as I've been made aware, the semi-finals kind of played out like a normal game would. And there was nothing really weird that happened there, apart from a few guys that thought they were really good at the game, and one guy in a golden suit who cuts a promo like a pro. Suspicious? Maybe, but we'll get into that, obviously. TSF, nice to see you back on here, bud. Now, of course, when you really think about it, everybody here is thinking to themselves, this guy's a bit strange, isn't it? It's, you know, he's here in a golden suit, he can cut a promo, he seems like he's a bit, I don't know, over the top? Maybe over the top. Probably over the top. If we're gonna talk about anything, it's probably that he's over the top. And he's taking on a guy from Australia in what you'd call like the last of the finals, wasn't it? It was the finals. And my God, from what I heard, the golden guy, I can't remember what his name was. If somebody could put his name in the chat, whatever his name was, he was taking on Dave, and Dave from Australia. That, I tell you what, if you haven't seen his video for his entry, I actually thought it was brilliant. It was fantastic. But the other guy, I don't get what he was trying to achieve. It was really weird. But who knows? And to be fair, this whole situation from the match that they had in the finals to face AJ Styles, apparently the golden guy was literally just running away as he was playing as Brock Lesnar and Dave was playing as Braun Strowman. So he was just spending his time running away from him outside of the ring, and that's why apparently it went to a weird finish where there was a ring break. I'm not sure. I don't think they can do that with Brock Lesnar. I can't remember. I'm not gonna put in Stephen T. Benson. There we go. Thank you, James. So really, when you think about it, it sounds really odd that he kind of employed these tactics, that he was just going to run away. I don't blame him. From what I've heard, Dave put a lot of work into this. He literally did actually play for 3 hours a day up until the point where he got to WrestleMania, and he actually brought his PlayStation 4 with him to carry on training before he played in the tournament. He was serious about this. This wasn't just like some sort of weird imaginary cakewalk. But I kind of feel like there was a photo at the end where it kind of summed it up. And I could kind of feel like they shook hands, but even Dave maybe saw through it a little bit. Personally, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not saying it is rigged because I don't know personally. It could all just be one big, massive coincidence. Could be one massive coincidence. I put my hands up. It could be just coincidence. There could be a lot of conjecture there and a lot of things that have fallen into place that are just completely random. But there's just something that screams that, did they just place him there? Because this was just terrible. And if you really think about it, Dave sat there and he shook hands with him and he had a face that was just like, nah. Good luck to you, but nah. And then, of course, we went to TakeOver. What? What? I'm not. I don't. Okay, so of course we get to the big day. He's taking on AJ Styles for $1 million. This isn't chump change. This isn't $150. This isn't like $500 or $1,000, $10,000 even. Hell, I'd jump for joy at $10,000. Hell, I'd jump for joy at $100,000. I would be ecstatic. I would be celebrating, doing laps around the ring if I won $1 million. I would be in the crowd celebrating. I'd be a face. I'd be running around. I wouldn't be playing a character. I just won $1 million damn dollars. I beat AJ Styles. What's that? He goes in and he literally just suplexes AJ over and over again, talks some trash, and then just beats him. Now, I'm going to be fair, AJ just did not seem like he was at all aware of what was going on. It's almost as if he hadn't played the game before, but I think they were playing it on a PlayStation, and I think he's an Xbox gamer, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. But in any case, after losing, he seemed actually pretty annoyed because he threw the controller all the way from the ramp into the ring. So I don't actually think that it was rigged, and if it was, maybe it was a plant by WWE and not 2K, and nobody said anything, because the fact that this guy had just won $1 million, $1 million, I mean, we're talking $1 million here, we're not talking chump change, $1 million damn dollars, and he, instead of being ecstatic and thinking, oh my god, I just won $1 million, what am I going to do with $1 million? I could do all sorts of things with $1 million, I can't believe this is actually happening. He cut a promo as a heel. What is that about? Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, it seems to me that that is the biggest thing that anybody's ever sort of just won, and you cut a promo. Now, of course, everybody at this point is saying it's rigged. He's a WWE guy. Now, there have been obviously things that have come out that he has worked for WWE on previous occasions in previous years. I don't think there's been anything recent. Not certainly in the last, not in the last couple of years, I don't think. I think the last thing was like 2014, 2015. So maybe it's like 4 years. 4 years. And of course, this guy literally has just come in, beat AJ Styles, won $1 million, cuts a promo, and it's just nobody cares. Nobody cares that he won, because people are thinking, is this real? Did he really just win $1 million? Or is this just some sort of weird farce? And I feel like maybe it didn't work out quite the way that 2K wanted it to. And AJ, it certainly didn't work out the way that he wanted it to, because he's basically just been made a joke of straight away in a game. And this guy does not like losing at games at all. So that's what kind of makes me believe that maybe it wasn't rigged. And if it was, then maybe it was WWE plant. But this is all massive conspiracy theories. For me, I don't actually believe that the $1 million was ever out of grabs for whoever took on AJ Styles. That's what I believe. And I think there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is AJ Styles sucks at WWE 2K19. I'm not saying anything about AJ Styles, but damn, the man, I think he genuinely just sucks at WWE 2K19. I think a 10-year-old could have taken him for a ride to Suplex City. I genuinely believe that. And the thing is that this guy has come in, he's won that $1 million, and he's cut a promo, and quite frankly, I don't think the $1 million was ever out of reach for him, and he knew that. And at this point, he wasn't using that to be all tearful and happy that he's just won $1 million. Seriously, $1 million damn dollars. Why is he not? Why is he not? In fact, it kind of seemed like he used the opportunity to get noticed. He's worked on and off for the WWE as a ring announcer, here and there, access. He's never actually been an in-ring proper announcer. He's never been like a backstage personality. He's never been anything like that. But maybe he saw this as an opportunity, not just to win $1 million, but to actually get his face in front of people at WWE and say, look at me. And the reason that I say this as well is because if you've seen the footage, then you'll notice that when he starts cutting the promo, Xavier Woods and Corey Graves are looking at each other and looking around as if to say, who's this guy? What's this guy doing? What's he... Who's cutting these promos? Who's cutting these promos? Seriously. Who's telling him what to say? Because this is cringeworthy. And I'm not criticizing the guy, but I spoke to somebody earlier, and I actually did say that the guy who won the $1 Million Challenge, he just reminds me of a really cringy coach. He really does. So that's just weird, and I don't know whether it is rigged. I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. I think it's a guy that is basically got his opportunity to put his face in front of WWE officials and really cut a promo and see if he can get a job. He should not have won that, no. AJ Styles was cheap shot, and then the guy just dominated the match. Yeah, he kind of did. Had to be rigged because there's no way that WWE would give up $1 million and put it on the line with AJ Styles. Well, I don't know if it was WWE that put up the money, or 2K that put up the money, or whether it was a tandem thing, or what it actually was. Maybe they were just trying to generate some buzz for this year's game. But I don't know where the money came from, so it's hard to say that you wouldn't put it all on AJ Styles. I mean, it's more about getting the experience, isn't it? Realistically, they've just flown out 4 people to WrestleMania. So that's pretty cool. I mean, even if one of them was a plant, I'm not saying that he was, but if one of them was a plant, that's 3 people that got to go to WrestleMania, all expenses paid. That's pretty cool. AJ Styles should have destroyed that guy. AJ Styles is not good at WWE 2K19. He is not good at those games. Just not. And also, I think he's an Xbox player and not a PlayStation player, so that probably put him at a disadvantage. It seems a bit staged. The whole thing seemed a bit staged because the guy, I'm pretty sure at this point, was just gunning for some sweet TV time. That is genuinely what I think it is. Gotta be honest here. What were the stages so confused? So, pretty much, they had the quarterfinals. They had the semifinals live, streamed on Fox TV. We didn't get to see it here in the UK. We got nothing. I don't even know if they were completely streamed, those areas. But at the end of it, it got down to the finals, and Dave lost to the guy. I can't even remember his name again. Completely thrown me. Just irrelevant. Don't think I'm salty. I'm genuinely not. I didn't put in a video. I beat the MDC out of fun, generally. And the dates really, for me, totally conflicted because my wife is pretty much due to drop a baby any soon. So if I was away at WrestleMania now, I'd be a dead man when I got back. So I'm not salty at all. It's got nothing to do with that. It's weird. AJ didn't even try and reverse at all. He did try and reverse. He just sucks at the game. Terribly. When he started a coach, maybe that coach AJ was I don't know, but honestly, it's weird. It's so weird. I am completely flabbergasted by the shambles that it was, because the $1 Million Challenge deserved to be so much better than that. It deserved to be so much more, and there needs to be more rules when it comes to these things, because when you have a game like 2K that can be ridiculously spammed and absolutely run over by people, it's one of those things, isn't it? You can't not mention it. So He should stick to Madden and up, down, down. Do you know, that's a funny thing. He could stick to Madden and up, down, down, but he destroys controllers when he loses. I don't know how many controllers Xavier Woods is going to keep replacing for AJ. Please don't do it again. Do you know what? I think it does need to be done again. But here's the reason why, okay? And here's the reason why. If they don't do it again, fair enough. I don't really care. It's not a big deal. But if they do it again, they need to redo it with different rules. It needs to include more people. It needs to include semi-finals things and actual structure and things, because we don't want people spamming, because let's face it, the main way of completing the $1 Million Challenge this year was stomping on your opponent until they got up, and then you just drop kicked them and carried on until you had enough for a finisher or a submission and just did it to them. Where was the fun in that? There wasn't. It was just a workaround. And to be quite frank, there was another way of getting to the end of the $1 Million Challenge and it not being so much of a challenge. And the way you did that, it was simply, if you got to a point and you were about to lose, close the game. If you close the game when you're at a certain point in the $1 Million Challenge, and then you go back to it, it will take you back to where you were, and with full health. So, there's another thing. If you wanted that little bit of information, it doesn't matter now. $1 Million Challenge is finished. Didn't quite stop him because he nearly went into a full... Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Sergeant Pepper. He completely cut him off because he was like, okay, let's stop then. Because just stop. He was basically overstepping his bounds. Shouldn't have done that. It should be a league instead of a tournament. It should be a league instead of a tournament. That is what it should be more like. Because there's a lot of people, like I said, the game is open to abuse. It is open to abuse quite easily from the way that people play. If you beat the MDC by doing the stomping and the drop kicking and the stomping and the drop kicking, stomping and drop kicking, and then submit or pin, whatever you did, that's an exploit. You're exploiting the game because it's broken that way. And guess what? You can do that to people online as well. It's just as irritating when they reverse it and then you get drop kicked in the face and they just stomp on you forever until you reverse or get up, and then they do the same again over and over and over, and it's just infuriating. There's got to be some sort of gentleman's agreement in these sort of things. Like, as a 2K player, as myself, as an embarrassment to the 2K community, it wasn't an embarrassment. It was just very ill-fated from the way that it was already started. It's a shame. The top 4 from each continent would face each other until you have the top 4 of the world. Well, I mean, that's a fair point. The guy who won worked for WWE. He did. The last time I saw that he worked for them was 4 or 5 years ago. So he's not a current employee of WWE. More of a contractor, if anything. So it's hard to say what he actually is. Yeah, you got to see it. Can you explain what's going on? It just showed up. So we're just talking about, was the $1 Million Challenge rigged for WWE 2K19 that took place last night before TakeOver? That's what we're doing. You don't think it was rigged, but Brock is just too overpowered in WWE 2K. Well, Brock is overpowered. He is overpowered. But also AJ Styles just sucks at the game. Just sucks at the game. Is it true AJ Styles did not want to play? No. No, AJ Styles had to play. It was part of his thing, you know. I don't think he wanted to play on a PlayStation 4 because he plays an Xbox, I'm pretty sure. From what I remember, he plays an Xbox. He hates PlayStation 4. He doesn't get the controllers, which is really odd because they're pretty much the same controller, just slightly bulkier for the Xbox. But that's one thing or another. Hey, the $1 Million Challenge, you can't even get back full health. You can, Kevin, if you use the trick that I just said. So if you want to go back a bit, maybe 5 minutes or so, I tell you how to save your progress and then restart where you were with all of your health. Yay. Some superstars should have been banned. Yes, some superstars should have been banned. Some things should have been banned. Some moves should have been banned. Some technical things should have been banned. You can't have a full-on, let's go do everything when you've got people that know what certain moves can't be reversed, and they know which things will cause certain things to happen. It's annoying. You could tell AJ Styles, he was playing, he just sucks. He's terrible. Honestly, he was trying to play. He's just terrible. Yeah, he plays Xbox and 2K are sponsored with PlayStation. I wouldn't say that 2K are sponsored with PlayStation because when I went to play WWE 2K19 at the early preview in London, they were all Xbox One X's. There was no PlayStation 4s there. None of them. Pretty sure he let him win. No too fast, too slow prompt show up. Yeah, that's kind of true when I think about it. None of those prompts showed up. I mean, it was a cakewalk. I don't think he really knew the controls. It's almost as if he'd never really played the game up until the time before on the $1 Million Challenge when he did up, down, down. And then that night, I don't think he'd ever played it before then. I was kind of gunning and really hoping that AJ Styles would literally, the whole thing would turn out, if it was going to be rigged, I would have hoped that it maybe would have actually been rigged in a fun way, where the guy who got to the final and challenged for the $1 million did turn out to work for WWE, but the whole thing was a really weird twist, and AJ Styles turned heel, poison missed the guy, and then threw his controller all the way across the arena and rolled him up for a pin. I thought that would have been brilliant. I wish you was AJ Styles so you could beat him so bad. Yeah, well, maybe next year. Maybe next year. AJ Styles was still mad when Woods made him play AKI. WCW. Yeah. The PS4 controller. Yeah. Yeah, he did. So, I think what it's coming down to, what happened? What would you mean? What happened last night? You talking about with the MDC Angel? $1 Million Challenge? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, something just wasn't quite right with the whole thing. And as much as I really wanted to be on board with it, as much as I was thinking this could be the start of something, we could see maybe an esports league. 2K for WWE franchise, we could see maybe something going on there. We haven't seen anything, and that's a damn shame. It's something that needs to be worked on, and really this is kind of setting the foundation as to whether or not we can play this competitively. 2K WWE should be a competitive game, but realistically, the limitations of people spamming moves over and over again, and exploiting it that way, kind of seems weird. Yeah, that was actually, yeah, that's a good name for it, Mark. The MDC Screwjob by AJ Styles. But AJ didn't screw AJ. It seems like Xavier Woods did by giving him a PlayStation 4 controller. He knows he hates them. Is WWE 2K the only... Oh, well, I think if we're going to be honest with you, that it is the only one from 2K that's a sports game that's not competitively played. Realistically, there's no real WWE leagues, there's not really anything like that. There's nothing hosted. I would actually like to host, personally, me, BSG, Viking Size Game, would personally like to host a league or a fed or a tournament, something for 2K WWE, because realistically, the game's got potential to do that, but it needs the rules ironed out. You can't just do things, there's got to be ways of doing it. There's got to be certain things that you're not allowed to do. There's got to be like a gentleman's agreement, you know? Whether it's certain things like, you know what? You have to put on a minimum of a 4-star match before you can even pin anybody. You can't stomp somebody more than 4 times in a match because it's not necessary. In fact, you can't stomp people in a match because it's not necessary. Things like that. Because gentlemen's agreements, things like that, the rules need to be applied in the game. Because stomping is way too overpowered, it's really hard to counter, and when somebody gets up, they can immediately just be knocked down again. There's got to be serious reversals for stomping, but that's just for all online play and local play. If you start stomping the other person, they don't really have anything better to do than try and reverse. And when they reverse, they roll out of the way, or they just get straight up and they get knocked back down again. There's got to be consequences if you are stomping and you get reversed. There's got to be serious takedowns for that. And there's got to be an advantage thrown to the other person. But there isn't currently. There's nothing. You either get up or you roll out of the way and immediately get taken out again. But that's just me. That's just me. Yeah, it's one thing. Why not make a league for both consoles? Make triple threat so you can watch. It's true. It's true. There's got to be something on there for tournaments coming up. We're going to ban people from using Brock Lesnar next year. Then they'll just use Roman Reigns. They'll just use the next best person. It's not about that. It's really about if you're going to be playing as certain people. It's hard to judge. Because it's not like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. It's not like you have 2 characters, their health is exactly the same. They just have different movesets. There's so much more to take into account. You've got to take in their health, you've got to take in their damage, you've got to take in how much damage they can take for their toughness, their arms, their legs, their head. If you concentrate certain attacks and they have a bad head, they're going to take damage from their head a lot quicker and thus take more damage. There's so many factors to take into this that realistically the only way that you could be sure that you would get a winner in a 2K tournament is if everybody played as the same character. Oh, yeah, Angel. So some guy managed to win $1 million from AJ. It was really weird. It was very quick. The guy played as Brock Lesnar. AJ played as AJ. He won $1 million very quickly, trying to cut a promo, and Corey Graves cut him off and said, "That's enough of that, okay." Because it was just... it needed to stop. Needed to stop. Okay, let's take a look. The Viking Wrestling League, the VWL. Corey. Nice name, I like that. Think you should make a league and see how good people are just to make the game fun. Well, maybe we should. Maybe we should. Ratings don't mean much. Ratings do mean much in the game, realistically. The big dog Roman Reigns. Under 85 overall superstars only. That's a bit more interesting. I mean, realistically, you've got to do it for weight as well. Yeah, it's got to be the same weight class and the same overall mostly. I mean, if you give somebody a 90 overall character versus an 80 overall character, there's going to be serious consequences there. You know, it's given an advantage. It's like a handicap. You don't need that handicap. Why would you need that? So, Stephen T. Benson. I keep saying it. Sorry, Alex. I'll just keep saying that guy in the golden suit. That dude. I mean, like I say, he is cringe. I mean, realistically, I see the game becoming a lot bigger than it was. And 2K20 is about to change. Because it is a lot different than what it used to be. It's masses different than it used to be. Already from 2K15. So they have grown. This is going to be the 5th year. The 5th entry for WWE 2K. I mean, 2K15 kind of really wasn't them. They didn't really have much say in that. It was pretty much built. It was just published under them. Or was that 2K14? It was 2K14. 15 was kind of like their first one, but it was mostly built. They came in sort of like halfway through production or something. But this is technically the 5th year of their franchise that they have owned, developed, and I'm expecting big things. But we'll see. Tournament just need gentleman rules. Yes, it does, Delzinski. Thanks for popping in, mate. Yeah. Character selection, I don't really think played a huge part. It's all about players and restrictions. Yeah, like I've been saying that the gentleman rules, things need to change, like stomping, and it's certain things that have to happen. You can't. I don't know. There's got to be a certain set of rules that we should have to prevent things from being as spammy or as open for exploitation as they could be. It's one of those things. The reversal system should be a serious consequence system. If I catch you with a reversal, it should give me 1, maybe a damage boost, and maybe 2, maybe something, obviously an advantage straight off the bat that I get, so I attack you next. You don't get the opportunity to attack me after a reversal. That's it. But it should give the opportunity maybe as well to have another reversal on top of it, so we see reversal and you can reverse a reversal if you're quick enough. I'd like to see something like that. Would you think of making a league this year? I've got a lot on my plate, but it's a possibility. For 2K20, who knows? I can certainly talk to some of the other guys, other YouTubers as well, and see what they think, because I'd like to get some more people involved and see where we go with it, but we could take a look. How Corey was trying to say people living in their parents' basements he needs to get with it. Well, yeah, so I think that was AJ who said that, not Corey. I think it was AJ that said, yeah, you got $1 million to go and spend in your parents' basement or whatever. And I don't think they realised that he worked for WWE for a few years. Like I said, I don't think he's worked recently for them. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago was the last time, as far as I've seen. Not anything recent. And I think that, like I said, winning that $1 million challenge for this guy, he already knew he was going to win it. As soon as he saw AJ Styles, I'm guessing he is an avid follower of things like up, down, down. And as soon as he saw AJ Styles with a PlayStation controller in his hand, and he knows AJ Styles just doesn't use PlayStation controllers, he hates them. This isn't AJ Styles going, man, I'll get on with this PlayStation 4 controller. It's fine. I understand this. This controller is not that hard to figure out. It's not too dissimilar to an Xbox controller. If you can play an Xbox, you can play a PlayStation. It's the same buttons, they just have different symbols on them and are slightly out of place. Ever so slightly. Your thumbs will still and your fingers will still sit where they need to be. But AJ sees a PlayStation 4 controller and he just weeps. He just doesn't know what he's doing with it. It's like a caveman looking at a wheel for the first time. He just doesn't understand it. Just done with it. And I think as soon as he saw AJ Styles the PlayStation 4 controller in his hand, he knew immediately that this was over. And he used the opportunity not just to win $1 million, but to market himself, maybe. Try and get himself a job as a commentator or a host at WWE. The money was already in the bag, I'm guessing. Maybe. VSG plus Delzinski equals possible 2K League. I would love to work with Delzinski on a 2K League. I think it would be the bomb. Look, it would be freaking awesome. I'm the guy that beats you fair and square, not be cheap and spam you like an idiot. Some people can't play fair. Yeah, that's true, Stretch. It happens, though. You know, whenever I play online, I don't go in with the intention of just stomping people, knocking people down, stomping people, knocking people down. I go in with the mindset when you play online, for me at least, when I play online, is get on, have some fun, put on a match that maybe Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa would be proud of, you know, put on a showcase, a masterpiece, do all the big moves, do something ridiculous. And the other person is just concentrating on, how many times can I stomp this guy into the ground before he gets up, and then I kick him again, and then he goes down, and I add another win to my win streak. 234 people I've spammed the shit out of. It's terrible. Honestly, I'm just, oof. Ugh. It's not hard. It would be classic, Alex. It would be classic, Alex. he did look. He looked so happy when he won. Not. Yeah, it's true. Okay, team. Just when he won it, like I said, he wasn't. He was playing a character. He wasn't being a person. He was playing a heel role character for some reason, and you could see on Xavier Woods and Graves' face that they were just like, what is this guy doing? What is he doing? Why is he deciding this is a good time now to play a character? Just be happy you won $1 million, you weirdo. Everybody else, anybody else, you ask anybody else, it wouldn't have been to market yourself, which this guy blatantly was just doing. It would have been about taking that check, running around the ring, and into the crowd and celebrating like a madman. That's what it would have been. Anybody else would have been hugging people. Would have been hugging AJ Styles. I'm sorry you lost, bro, but thank you. Won $1 million. This guy. Cutting a promo now. Gonna get me a job. Crazy. Not Adam Cole, baby. They should have a woman on the cover of 2K20 or Roman Reigns. I'm all for Becky Lynch. I've got no problem with that. The whole crowd booed him. The whole crowd booed him at the beginning. They absolutely booed the crap out of him. And then by the end, they didn't care. That's how much this really meant to them. They didn't care. Shocking. Gloating he could buy everybody. Yeah, he did. He did kind of come. I don't know what it was about it. I just did not like the guy. I really wanted the Australian guy, Dave, to win. 100% behind him. His video was hilarious. The guy seemed like a genuine, down-to-earth guy. I would have preferred if he'd won, but he didn't. So, shame. Jay, when I play online, I always face spammers that like to stomp and kick and stomp, and then when I lose, they say that I suck. Yeah, really, the only way to combat people like that, for me at least anyway, of what I've found, is if you are playing them in a match where it's maybe a no holds barred or anything where you can go out the ring and there's no 10 count. I'll just go out of the ring and wait for them to come to me. That's the only bit of advice I can give you. And as soon as they get out of the ring, then I launch into them. But basically just create distance to make them come to you. I waited 10 minutes for a guy to come to me once. I had no qualms waiting. I didn't care. I'll wait forever for him to come to me. Didn't bother me. I was going to make him wait. He was either going to come to me or he was going to wait forever. I didn't care. If it was rigged, are we saying that it was rigged that Stephen was destined to win? Even within the final four? What do you think, Viking? Dell, if it was rigged... It's hard to say. I mean, the thing is that I personally don't think it was rigged. I don't think it was. I think it was a guy that was good at the game and used it as a marketing opportunity, and it just came off really badly, like it was rigged. And there's a lot of coincidences, like he worked for WWE 4 or 5 years ago. But I mean, if it was rigged, then we're saying that he was supposed to win from the word go. You know, and that means that I don't know, maybe there was some sort of things going on there. Maybe they knew that he would be playing as Brock Lesnar, and maybe they upped Brock Lesnar a little bit more. Maybe the thing is that you can't really say that, can you? Because it doesn't make any sense. Why would they rig the game for one person and nobody else go, oh, well, you know what, maybe I won't use Brock Lesnar this time. Maybe I'll use somebody else. I don't know. It's hard to call it. Yeah, even with the final four, if it would have to be him rigged, but I don't know how he'd do it. I don't know how they'd do it. Hey, strikers. Put Kofi Mania on the cover of 2K20. Interesting thought, Kevin. Oh yeah, well, that match was good last night. That match was good. What was the suit he was wearing? Well, it was just one of his suits, golden or something. I don't even know. I don't really care. I wasn't really paying attention. I was paying attention to how bad the match went for AJ Styles. It was just... I mean, realistically, the $1 Million Challenge wasn't rigged. Like I said, I don't think it was. Personally, if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think it was rigged. And yeah, Dell, I guess the trouble is we haven't seen the entire matches either. He hasn't seen them, but interesting to see how those matches came out, to see how good a player he was. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I've heard a few things from people who were there. And Dave, the Australian guy, was apparently very good, but the guy legitimately did train for 3 hours a day. He even took his PlayStation with him to Australia to carry on training for this, even while he was there. I mean, that's dedication. This guy genuinely wanted to win. And he played as Braun Strowman against Steven in the finals. And apparently Steven just ran away as Brock Lesnar for the majority of the match on the outside. And I feel like that's almost a smart move if you know that somebody's a ridiculously good player. And I almost feel like maybe... I don't know who it was. Now, this is the thing. I don't know who it was who initiated... I mean, I guess it can only be Braun Strowman who would have initiated the OMG ring break maneuver, because I don't think Brock Lesnar has that in his repertoire. I don't think that's something that he actually genuinely has. But I think that if that was the case, then Dave would have actually done that. He'd have triggered it, which means it would have gone again. So was that a desperation move, or was it a mistake? Or was he thinking that because he did that, he may have won? Was that a way for him to win? I'm guessing he would have known that's not the case because it was pin or submission only. So at this point, they get a restart. They do 5 minutes. And I think that maybe, most likely what happened in that 5-minute overtime match, because of the ring break maneuver, that Steven didn't actually pin or submit Dave. Instead, he won by a damage victory because they went to the 5-minute time limit. And I think that's the only way that he won. I think maybe he genuinely did beat him in a really awful way. I think maybe probably what he did was he beat Braun Strowman, did some running attacks maybe, and then just ran away for the last 5 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised. In any case, I reckon that he probably did hit him a few times, got the damage done, and then just spent the rest of the time moving away from him and just getting away as far as possible. That's what I believe. I know we haven't seen the match yet, but I think that's the most likely way that he would have taken him out, because Dave came prepared. We'll have to see. Why didn't PewDiePie win? He's too busy with another fight. Viking, I'm an OG, has the family. Congrats on also having a little one on the way. Thank you, Thomas. Yes, it's all good. Things are happening, but we're still waiting. Might be a WrestleMania baby. Might be a Raw SmackDown baby with this way. It's taking his time. Brock does have the ring break. Okay. Hey, BB-8. Okay, well, if Brock has the ring break, then maybe it was him that triggered it as well, then. It's one of those things you can't really say until it happens. So, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like whoever broke the ring either by accident or on purpose. One of two reasons. They had overtime, and the reason Steven got through was because he damaged Dave, who was playing as Brock Lesnar. Dave was playing as Braun Strowman, and Steven damaged him while he was playing as Brock Lesnar, and then just ran away. That's what I believe anyway. Excuse me. Very dry throat. Runners are complete morons. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, they are. All of them. Hate them all on the street. Take up too much room. When I play WWE, I never run away and always stay in the ring. I'm not sure who that is, and I fight until the bitter end of beating an overall 100 as Kurt Hawkins in WWE Live. That's impressive. That's impressive. Was that on Legendary? I don't even know why WWE sent them out there. They knew he would get a bad reaction, and he did. Made the road thing awkward as hell. Honestly, the thing is that WWE sent them out there. The great thing was, as I said, even if one of them was a plant, even if just one of them was a plant, right? Which they may not have been. Even if one of them was a plant, realistically, you have to think of it this way. 3 people got to go to WrestleMania, all expenses paid. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love to go to WrestleMania, all expenses paid, to play a game and maybe win $1 million. It's a good trade-off, realistically. The cheap guy, whoever his name is, deserves to get an RKO. Why didn't you win? What, me? Why didn't I win? I didn't enter. One of those things. What's my views on what, Thomas? But the MTC did get the jobs in terms of marketing, sold copies of the game, and that was the overall purpose. So job done. Yes, it is, Dell. Realistically, that's what it was. It was a marketing ploy to get people to go out and buy the game, to get renewed interest in it, for bringing back my career, for building on Universe and expanding it a little bit, for bringing back the return of. Oh my God! Why is I'm having a brain fart? It was obviously they built on my career. They brought on they returned my career. They returned the showcase mode. That's the one, and they built on Universe mode. And then they brought in towers. There was a lot of changes this year, and I know that they lost a lot of people over the years with the really poor iterations that they put out, which was natural. It was a natural progression. They were gonna get people who were going to leave because that's just what happens. People are going to leave the game if it's not what it's cracked up to be, if it's not performing how it should be performing. And this is a damn shame when you think about it, because the game itself now is much better than 2K15. And it's been years since 2K15. And yes, every year you've gotten something that hasn't been that great, but this year's game was certainly a ton better. A ton better. And they wanted to attract people back to the game. Job done. On to 2K20. Build from there. That's just my thing. Right, I need to go and get a drink of water because my throat is so dry. It's like Sahara Desert. I'll be back in a sec. Ah, the crack of a lovely beer. Oh, it's not over. Ugh. So, let's move on to other things. If we're gonna be talking about stuff, where are we? Oh, here we are. Oh. Boom. NXT TakeOver thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. What were your thoughts on NXT TakeOver last night? Because I caught up with it today. I mean, it's not responsible of me to catch up, unless it's during the day at the moment. Because if I watch it live, my wife could go into labor at any point, and I'd like to get some sleep before that happens. So I'm watching things on catch up over this WrestleMania weekend. It's a first for me. I don't normally. Bit of a shame, but I managed to catch up with it. So please throw me your thoughts. I would like to hear. You're glad Johnny won. Honestly. Yeah. Johnny deserved it, and that match was hell. But did he kick out too many times? I mean, realistically, Adam Cole threw not just everything at him, he threw everything and more at Johnny, and Johnny just kept kicking out of everything. Just like almost like he was no selling. Like, nope, just gonna keep kicking out until you give me that damn belt. This is what I'm doing. Effing awesome. What just happened? I love Hart. Walter was a huge guy. Yes, he is a massive guy. It was alright, you guess. You'd prioritize me if it was you. Yeah, of course you would. Does this mean Pete Dunne, Undisputed Era will be called up? There's a possibility. I mean, Undisputed Era, I don't think they'll be called up. I think, realistically, there's been too many calls up recently. Yeah. And the thing is that the Undisputed Era have got things that they need to do still. Adam Cole hasn't been NXT champion yet. I see this probably as the next feud for Johnny Gargano, because right now it's Adam Cole chasing that. Realistically, there's no room for the Undisputed Era on any of the rosters right now. There's no room for anybody, which is why they're doing the Superstar Shake-Up soon. So, that's one thing. Broken, Pete Dunne. Oh, your heart's broken, Kevin. Yes, okay, that's fair. I mean, Pete Dunne, 685 days as champion, the longest reigning champion in modern day history. Ridiculous. That reign was just unreal. But when you think about it, it was probably the best thing, because now that frees up Pete to be in the Superstar Shake-Up and maybe go to SmackDown, where he can challenge for a US title or a world title. The guy has money written on him. I'm not sure if Vince will get him, but we'll see, because we don't know what goes on in Vince's head. I don't even think Vince knows what goes on in Vince's head sometimes, you know? Bianca should have won the NXT Women's title. Do you know what? I wouldn't have minded if Bianca had won, because then my plan or ploy for WrestleMania could have come to fruition, which I would like to see happen. So, but we'll see. You'd have put money on Shirai. I would have put money on Shirai as well. I mean, it would have been nice to see. Okay. The thing is that I see this. I don't know if anybody else noticed. In the women's match, I didn't see a whole lot of chemistry between Kairi Sane and and the EST of NXT. I just didn't. In fact, I see a few stalled moves, maybe a couple of minor botches here and there where they weren't quite sure what to do. Like, Kairi knew what to do, but I don't think that she did. And it was kind of sad that Bianca didn't quite go with the flow. There was still a bit of greenery there. Let's just put it that way. She was still a little bit green. She was showing her colours there a little bit. Whereas Shayna was just ridiculous the entire way through. Like, she was a menace. And of course, you know, Io and Kairi, they're just another level. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for years. They've been doing it in Stardom. They do it in WWE and NXT. They are unreal. And those two together, just another level. So, that's one of those things. You could see Kairi getting called up. I mean, realistically, yeah. If the plan is to completely unify those, well, the main roster women's championship into one championship, that is if this is the plan. It may just be a winner takes all, and then somebody will challenge later on down the line before SmackDown goes to Fox. Then we could see them being split back up again. But if the plan is to actually unify them, then it would make sense that they actually throw more bodies into the singles division, because there's a tag division now, and it kind of takes away from that. You don't really want that to happen. It showed Bianca's green. She's the future star, but not quite yet. Yeah, to be fair, Danny, it's true. She is definitely a star in the making. She's great at spots, a lot of great strength. She shows really well. But yes, still a little bit green. She'll get there, though. She's only been there a little while, not long enough. You think Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream will have a rematch? I think they will. Because I loved the storytelling in Matt Riddle versus Velveteen Dream. That was a spectacle. Now, if you really actually think about it, this match, from the word go, was from an MMA athlete who's just so chilled out until the bell rings, and then he tries to murder you. This guy is so vicious. Wow. I mean, okay. That was crazy. And the more that Velveteen managed to kick out and sort himself out, the angrier Matt Riddle got. That was crazy. That was absolutely insane. And the fact that Velveteen didn't win, he knew he couldn't beat him strength-wise. He knew he couldn't beat him technical-wise. He knew he couldn't beat him on the ground or in the air. He couldn't beat him anywhere. Well, I mean, this just turned into a weird cat in the hat story. He realized that he only had one thing that he could do with him. He could outthink him. And I'm not saying anything against Matt Riddle, but maybe smoking so much maybe dumbs down certain senses. So Velveteen Dream took full advantage of that and rolled him up at a very last moment and technically survived. But I loved the story that it told. I thought it was amazing. What are your thoughts on Kushida's appearance? Well, Kushida is an absolute star. And I will be very sorry when he gets drafted to 205 Live. That's what's going to happen. Because Vince McMahon sees a small Japanese man and thinks, ha, he's not going on my main roster. I'm sending him to 205. Off you go. You can tag with Akira Tozawa. Shocking. Honestly, I see Sky Pirates challenging Boston Hug Connection the next takeover. That would be interesting, Danny. Tegan Knox. Well, maybe. Dakota and Tegan should hold up and feud with Sasha and Bayley once Sasha and Bayley turn heel. Do you know, I would say that would be a great idea, but Dakota and Tegan don't have enough of a following yet. So, well, they really need to build their names up. When I saw my Shane and my arm started hurting, I'm not surprised. Oh, 205 needs to go to NXT. That is true. 205 does need to go to NXT. we are now just, I mean, it's kind of at a point now where we do actually need to get sort of mixed together, because I would actually like to see 205 Live Superstars on NXT rather than people going up to 205 Live diagonally. It's not really up, is it? It's like main roster, Raw, SmackDown, and 205 Live's kind of here. Weirdly, like on a Thursday, a Wednesday or a Thursday. It's just, I don't know. It's not great. 205 Live is good, but people just don't watch it. Yes, it's true. 205 Live is great. The talent on there is fantastic, and they put in so much work. It is unreal. They are so good. I don't understand why they don't get the love. I really don't, because 205 Live, guys, fantastic. Okay, so if we're going to talk about, oh, you watching TakeOver with your dad, and he laughed his butt off when Velveteen and Matt Riddle made their entrances. Yeah, it was a bit weird, wasn't it? It was a bit weird. Still funny, though. What do you guys think, then, of Walter? I don't know whether all of you were fully aware of Walter before he came on, who he was, what he was capable of. But the thing happened that I said would happen. And like I said, there was a lot of the crowd, or some of the crowd. I don't know. I don't really know the proportions. All I know is that some of them knew who Walter was, for sure. But that's what happens when you get such an eclectic crowd, should I say, of WWE fans. You know, they come from all over the world, so of course, a lot of them are going to know Walter. So, what do you guys think of Walter? Walter. And what did you think of the chops? Because I said, as soon as those chops hit, you were going to be like, whoa, God. Ah. Is he alive? Is he okay? Is he dead? It's awful. Awful. Always been a fan of Walter, and that powerbomb was great. Yes, JT. That powerbomb was ridiculous. It was absolutely unreal. I was genuinely shocked at how far he threw him. So good. NXT TakeOver Blackpool introduced him in a big way. Yes, it did. It really did. But it was only at the end. And then I'm guessing people just Googled him like mad if they didn't know who he was. I was never aware of Walter before he came to NXT UK, Mark. So hopefully you've got a good idea of what he's all about now. Walter's chops made me hold my chest in pain. Yes, they damn well do. There are a lot of chops that you just go, oof, but when he chopped, this noise when he chopped Pete Dunne's back. Oh, that made me pull my shoulder blades and go, oh no, don't do that. Oh. Walter is a more talented Vladimir Klitschko. My only problem with him is his slow selling. Well, watch a match with Walter and Will Ospreay, and that's made me a fan of his. Yeah, honestly, that match, I believe you did. You watch that in? Is it in? God damn it! Is it? You know what used to be the What Culture one? It's changed names. I think that's where it was, wasn't it? That was a good one. You heard rumbles of Walter, and now you know what he is. Walter bullied Bruiserweight champion All Blight. All Blight? He did bully him, though. Walter is a good comparison to Kozlov before teaming with Santino. Ooh, is he? Kozlov was a menace. I really hope, yeah, in fact, yeah. Let's not let Vince McMahon get near Walter at all. Ever. Jesus. Now you've said that he's a good comparison to Vladimir, I just... No. Walter played Bruiserweight all night. Yes, he did. Yeah, WCPW. Yeah. God, I missed that. Defiant. That's the one. Defiant. What did you think about the War Raiders match? Yes, this is actually another question that I want to ask you guys. What did you think about the War Raiders match? Because War Raiders match was so good. Was so good. I mean, realistically, when you think about it, that War Raiders match was a really good send-off for Aleister Black and Ricochet. It was a fantastic send-off. And it was really heartwarming to see just how much NXT meant to Ricochet. He's only been there a short while. He hasn't been there as long as Aleister Black. And he was tearing up. I've got to say it. He was tearing up. Actually, speaking of reactions, I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but when Walter was coming out during his entrance, he looked pretty nervous, right? It wasn't just me. Seriously. He looked a bit like a lot of people. I'm just going to stick my chest out and hope for the best. Crazy, man. I'm not a fan of smaller 5-foot wrestlers, but I really enjoyed Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne's that small. He's like 5'9", 5'10". He's not. That's not small. Chris Benoit was 5'9", 5'10". Eddie Guerrero was 5'9", 5'10". Come on, man. Greatest wrestlers in the world are smaller. Daniel Bryan's like 5'8", 5'9". Ed Walter only wants to work NXT UK, not the main roster. Well, that would be good for him, because we've seen what happens when giant men from other countries get boring for Vince McMahon. He makes them dance or do stupid stuff. Look at the Funkasaurus. So sad. The swan song for the two. The sad thing is, yeah, as I was back to saying before, I was speaking about War Raiders. War Raiders against Ricochet and Aleister Black. That match was absolutely fantastic. It showcased a lot of the athletic ability of both teams. I was really impressed with War Raiders. Now, I've followed them for a little while in Japan, and they were doing great work over there as well. But I really have to say that that Ro was phenomenal with his martial arts. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Vince McMahon maybe looked at him and went single star, possibly upper mid-carder, quite possibly, and split a War Raiders if they ever did get to the main roster. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that, because Ro's he's got a lot of potential. It's there. It's sitting there. And Aleister Black and Ricochet go in. I mean, what? This is going to be their third championship match this week on Sunday? Do they go for the SmackDown tag titles? Like, I don't even know. This is crazy. If they don't win one championship, then something is going to happen. I'm quite happy for them not to win a championship and then just split up and then be independent from each other, because I don't want them as a tag team. They're too good as single stars to be a tag team. But I don't want them to split up and then Ricochet go to 205 Live, because that's not what should happen. Terrible. I see Walter being in a handicap matches if he was on the main roster. What, 2 or 3 guys against Walter and he just chops them all to death? Wouldn't be surprised. Who will Walter's next challenger be? Well, I'm guessing that if it's gonna be anyone, maybe Pete will get a rematch. I mean, he's only lost once. That's the first time he's ever lost. Champions are entitled to a rematch, right? He's got a rematch clause, right? Don't they all? Taylor, nice to see you on here. I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know. But the rest of the card was just fantastic. NXT TakeOver every year, absolutely destroys. Every single time. Every single time, it absolutely beats anything that the main roster can put on. And that's a sad fact. That is a sad, sad fact. I would appreciate it better if they actually took some time, because that, you think about this, right? Let's just think about this, okay? On Sunday, how many long-running storylines are there at WrestleMania? How many long-running storylines are there at WrestleMania that are going to happen on Sunday? Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch is one. I'm talking long-standing here. Not just put together in the last week or in the last couple of weeks, just for craps and giggles, because they could. I mean, you've got that match. Is that the only one? Oh no, okay, alright then. This Kofi Kingston match has kind of been put together quite fast, but at least it has a little bit of a story behind it. Get behind that. And Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar didn't pick up any steam until the last couple of weeks. Like, none. None whatsoever. So, I don't know. I can't really... Triple H Batista. Is that really, though? There's not a lot of investment in it. There's not. I mean, really, realistically, people are out there and they're thinking, oh yeah, we're going to get Triple H Batista. That's fantastic. There's no storyline. It's not one that does really have to have a storyline. But I thought the culmination of WrestleMania was supposed to be all these massive storylines. These big things that were happening that should be absolutely amazing to have. And you'd be sat there thinking, ah, yes, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Look at all the storylines that we're going to get. And look at all these big things. Oh, I'm so invested in all these things that are happening. You're getting maybe 3 or 4 at best long-term storylines at WrestleMania, and 13 to 14 other matches that are kind of just been slung together because they can. It's a shame. Orton versus AJ, straight edge. You can't say that Orton versus AJ is a long-term storyline. One guy said, you're from the Indies. The other guy said, you worked WWE all life. Rivalry. Who cares? Who cares? And then you start firing it up. Okay, well, you're just an indie guy. And it's like, ooh, you were on illegal substances. In your face. This is what counts as a rivalry now? What's it over? Is it over bragging rights? Can we do something about this? Can we make it a little bit better? It's not just a 3-week program, because this is crap. These sorts of things should have varied ones. They should have things like maybe a month-long program, maybe a 6-week program, a 6-month program. There should be various storylines here building up, because you don't just like go 6 months of a program, end of WrestleMania, and then another 6-month program. You got to have ones that go over, they overlap. There's got to be multiple stories being told at the same time. It's crazy. It's obviously a lot of management to do, but that's what it should be. I'm not going to be cheering for the main event at WrestleMania. Jay! Sir! How dare you? These women have put their bodies on the line. Ronda Rousey in real life. Several times. Kicked and punched in the face. A lot. Life choices, eh? But these women, Charlotte has... I mean, obviously a lot of people dislike Charlotte for the position that she's in at the moment. And I can understand that, because she's kind of just been thrown in. And people feel like they're invading Becky Lynch's space and time. So I get that. I understand. But at the same time, Becky Lynch is worked her arse off to get there. And so has Charlotte Flair. She might be riding a little bit on her dad's coattails, but realistically, she worked every day down in NXT. She went from green as F to phenomenal. Like, unreal. So, you gotta do it. I already know Becky's winning. Well, you'd hope so. Becky got really boring for me. Yeah, they kind of chilled her out. They toned her down a lot. So, it's a bit sad right now. It's a bit sad. But what I'm thinking, guys, is that if we maybe make this a thing, we could do it around maybe other pay-per-views. Maybe I'll just do one spontaneously. We'll have to see, because obviously all you guys are now going to be on the channel because you've been in the chat box. Just over here. So, really, I'm thinking maybe we'll do this a thing. And if that's the case, then maybe we'll get you all in the Discord, and I might get you in to ask questions live. So you can talk to me, be on for a few minutes, and then we'll see if we can get somebody else in, because you can't take all the airtime, it's mine. That's just what I think. But guys, it is now 10 o'clock, so it's quite late. So I'm going to make sure that I get some sleep just in case my wife pops. Because she might well do. Because she can. We're just waiting. But it has been great catching up with you guys. Stay here for the credits, because there's credits that are going to roll after this. So if there's anybody that's actually subscribed, you might actually see yourself in the credits. That'd be quite cool. I'm interested to see. And I will catch you next time. Ooh, end credits.